Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of It Takes a Viking, the official podcast of the Salem State University Alumni Association. My name is Mike Mitchell, Assistant Director of Alumni Relations at Salem State. And today we are very pleased to have a graduate from the class of 1999 and the Executive Director of Amplify Latinx. Please welcome Rosario Ubiera-Minaya. Rosario, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. A pleasure to be here.
And how are you these days?
I'm good, adapting to the new normal,
Yeah.
trying to make sense of many different things and
Mhm.
working from home and trying to figure out, how to do that the best way possible.
Well, we're looking forward to a wonderful conversation with you today. So let's get right into things. The first question we like to ask our guests is, what brought you to Salem State? How did you end up at Salem State?
I end up at Salem State because I'm a Salem resident. I moved to Salem with my family when I was only 15 years old. I'm native from the Dominican Republic. So we moved to Salem because we already had relatives living in the area. And Salem State was a perfect, opportunity to continue my education after I graduated from Salem High School. And it was one of the institutions that opened the doors for me as an immigrant, as a student of color, as a technically newcomer to the area. And it was a great experience.
And so now that you graduated in 1999 and I know you studied communications at the university, talk a little bit about what life looked like for you after you finished your time at Salem State.
Sure. You aging me right now. But yeah, no, after I graduated in 99, right away, I was one of the lucky ones that went on to the career path that I set for myself. So I I became the manager of partnerships and marketing for Telemundo. And Telemundo is one of the television networks, Spanish TV, one of the largest ones in the United States. So I was lucky enough to be able to have that experience and be the regional manager for when Telemundo was coming to New England. So all of my experience and learnings from my time at Salem State really helped me to land that position.
Great. And so now we go through, you go through a few different opportunities which have brought you to your new role with Amplify Latinx. And I know also you own your own event consulting and management firm. So talk a little bit about some of the work that you do at Amplify Latinx, what the organizational mission is, things like that. But then also talk a little bit about your work with Cojuelos and what you're doing with that organization.
Yeah, sure. And I'm so happy that you pronounced Cojuelos correctly, which is great. So after my experience with corporate, I realized that what I'm really passionate about is social justice and really working closely with communities of color. So my work took me to connect with other organizations and nonprofits, and I decided to leave my position at Telemundo and come back to Salem because Telemundo took me away from this area. But when I came back, I became really connected to my local community. And one thing led to another in terms of opportunities, volunteer opportunities, board commissions, other things, as well as employment and leading initiatives connected to social justice. And that's what brought me to where I am today with Amplify Latinx. And Amplify Latinx is a nonprofit organization that focuses on advocating, connecting, and leading the next generation of civically engaged Latinos in Massachusetts. And we do cross-sectional work. We partner with different organizations and really focus on advancing Latinos in the area for economic opportunity, civic engagement, and leadership representation. And but all of that is part of also the work that I do with, again, other organizations and other groups in making sure that the voices of communities of color are really at the table when there's decision making. And that includes my work that I've done with public health, public education, as well as public arts. And the public arts are really, the ones that are really close to my heart. I spent a chunk of my professional life connected to cultural organizations, including the Peabody Essex Museum. I worked for them for close to 8 years, and started to learn more about the disparities that exist between, cultural organizations and communities of color. So that took me to launch the Cojuelos Productions business, and becoming one of those agents for artists of color. And one of my projects that I adore is the one in Salem, is a Punto Urban Art Museum. That's my baby, my brainchild. And I'm so happy to see how much it has grown, and the great things that it's bringing to the community.
And I am right there with you, because I think the art that has continued to grow and change and reface downtown Salem, especially in the Point area, has been wonderful to see. As a student at the university, none of that was there during my time at the college, and I know it wasn't there for yours either. So to see that neighborhood, especially see the beautiful murals that are taking place on these buildings now, and for those that are watching or listening, if you haven't been back to the city in a little while, I strongly encourage you to come back, check it out, because it's really it's part of a greater shift in public art that you're seeing on the North Shore in general, but it's so wonderful to see that, especially in downtown Salem. So, I commend you on the great work that the Punto Art Museum continues to provide for the city.
Thank you.
And so, I think one of the interesting pieces that you've mentioned is the social justice work and the activism work. And I think one of the things that is probably different for you and I from when we were at the university is that now there's a dedicated piece to every student's curriculum that focuses on social justice or civic engagement. And so in the work that you've done, how can the average listener that's following along right now, how can they help stay engaged? How can they help advance, the social justice cause? What can they do in their local community to stay engaged civically?
Oh, thank you for that question. I think that these are difficult times, but crucial times for everyone. We are facing so many different challenges, a pandemic. We are, seeing again the disparities in our systems so vividly right now with everything that is going on. And I think we can all play a role. There are different opportunities to educate ourselves about the different experiences that other, residents of our country are really facing, and really to understand where everyone is coming from in terms of perspectives. So I think starting with educating ourselves, or uneducating unlearning some of the things that we learned and we thought that were the norm, and really trying to relate to the experiences of others. So I think that's the first step. And for some of us, it's more to be vocal about our own experiences as individuals of color in this country, and kind of like what we bring with those experiences to the table. But for others, is to be advocates, and to really be those individuals that can support from where they are from. So I would say that, become educated about the different movements and conversations that are being happening right now, and find, a group or an organization that is really connecting to your mission and what you're passionate about, and volunteer. Like that's really important. But at the same time, also, just advocate for the things that are right now really crucial. It's an election year. There's a census. There's so many conversations around racial disparities. So I think that if we all lend a hand into making sure that everyone is counted, that the different voices are expressed for the different issues, I think we are in a good start in terms of moving forward with systemic change.
And so as we talk about the length and the breadth and the success of your career so far, I think I read somewhere recently that you were honored by the New England Patriots at one point for the work that you've been doing, which is tremendous. Congratulations. What, understanding now that you've been so focused on social justice, civic engagement, things like that, if you had to go back and there was anything else that you would ever consider seeing yourself doing, what do you think it would be?
I think that be more flexible and open to new experiences. Again, as an immigrant coming to this country, I faced challenges early on in terms of like learning the language, understanding a structure that is different or from what I was used to. So for a while, I kept myself within my comfort zone. And I think that it will have helped me more if I will have opened up and kind of like tried to seek other experiences and other opportunities without being so self-conscious about my reality at that point. So I will say just, kind of like be more open to new people, new ideas, new experiences. For me, when I get the opportunity to talk about my story, like I never thought that I was gonna see myself in the position that I'm in today, given how things started for me. So being able to also be flexible and kind of like not set my head into a particular idea and be open to kind of explore, disrupt, spaces and disrupt what kind of like the labels that are put on me in terms of what people think I should be doing, and just be a little naive in a sense to really go into other places and be curious about things that I don't know. So I will say that that would have been kind of like where I wanted to be at that time when I was at Salem State.
Okay. And so if you were, understanding the knowledge that you have now that you've ascertained over your career, and you were in front of a group of graduating seniors right now that are coming into the world, trying to face it amongst all this uncertainty that exists, what do you think some advice would be that you would give them?
First of all, that we all have a story to tell, and not to be afraid to tell the story. I think sometimes we forget that a lot of people can relate to our experiences. So that's the first one. I think when I first started to do that is when my horizons opened up and I started to really find connections with others that I wouldn't find the connections otherwise. And then also in terms of connections, connect with people from all different walks of life. Be open to that. And of course, one that I feel like I didn't do enough was to really do those internships, fellowships, and get those experiences in those organizations and with those groups to broaden your network, because creating that network from early on is really going to help you in the future. And just, again, being open to new experiences. Take that trip, take that semester, abroad. Find that internship that really connects with your passions, and learn more every day, and continue being kind of like a lifelong learner.
Excellent, excellent. And so as you think about, you graduated in 1999 from university, you've had this wonderful career, but you've also always stayed close to Salem. And so I just wonder what being a member of the greater Salem community, being a graduate of the university, what does that all mean to you to be able to continue to do this work in an area that you've lived most of your life?
It means to feel at home and be grounded. That my work, my approach to my work is really personal. And, I mentioned a couple of times kind of like my story and where I came from. And for me, that's really important because it has really shaped me into the person that I am today. And for me, my professional trajectory is very aligned with my personal growth and my personal journey. And Salem has been a wonderful city for me and my family, and have given me great opportunities. I also have seen a lot of failures and challenges in Salem myself. So being able to contribute to the growth and the future of the city through my work and through my personal experiences has been a blessing. And I want to continue doing that. I'm hoping to be able to continue doing that, but also to inspire others to take leadership and really connect to the local communities, support the different initiatives, and again, be a voice for those that you feel that are not represented at the moment.
And so before we let you go, obviously we've talked about the great work that Amplify Latinx is doing. If someone wanted to learn more about Amplify Latinx, where could they find them online?
We are online. We have a website, amplifylatinx.com, and there's tons of information there about our initiatives. We also are on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and LinkedIn as well. So we do promote representation and leadership positions. So there's a lot of opportunities to get involved, to support the work, as well as to learn about the different initiatives by our partners. We have a network of 3,000 members and close to 200 partner organizations. So there's a lot out there that is happening where we can all get involved.
Wonderful. Well, Rosario, thank you so much for your time today. It was lovely to catch up with you and learn more about all the great work you've done and continue to do. And again, that was Rosario Ubiera-Minaya, Executive Director of Amplify Latinx and founder of Cojuelos Productions. This has been another episode of It Takes a Viking, the official podcast of the Salem State University Alumni Association. And I am Mike Mitchell, Assistant Director of Alumni Relations. Until next time, thanks for listening.